Hello, everyone. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. Welcome back to Easy English Learning.
Today, we are tackling a massive confusion that haunts almost every English learner. We are talking about the words we use to share our thoughts.
That's right, Alex. People often ask, should I say he told that or he said that? Or can I say tell to me? Today, we're going to give you a mental tool that will make the choice instant and easy.
We call this the arrow and the target theory. Sarah, why don't you explain the arrow part?
Sure. Imagine you have a bow and an arrow. When you use the verb say, the focus is entirely on the arrow, which represents the words themselves. You're just shooting the words into the air. You care about what was said.
And the verb tell is all about the target. The target is the person who is listening. When you use tell, you're aiming your information directly at someone. You care about who received the message.
Let's see how Alex and Sarah handle this in a real situation. Imagine we're at a crowded party and there's a lot of gossip going around.
Alex, did you hear what happened? Mark just came over and told me some incredible news about the project. No, I haven't talked to him yet. What did he say? Well, he said that the entire team is getting a bonus, but he told me to keep it a secret for now. A secret? He told everyone else the same thing. He said to me that we should celebrate tonight. Really? He told you that too? I thought he only told me because we're close friends. I think he just likes to say things to see people's reactions. He said, "Don't tell Sarah," but then he went and told you anyway. Let's stop and look at the arrows and targets here. Sarah, you started by saying, Mark told me some news.
Exactly. Mark is the archer, the news is the arrow, and me is the target. Because I mentioned the listener, me, I had to use tell. You can't say, Mark said me. The target must be there for tell to work.
But then I asked, what did he say? Why didn't I use tell there?
Because you were asking about the arrow, the words, the content. There was no target mentioned in that specific question. You wanted to know the message itself, so say is the correct choice.
Then you answered, he said that the entire team is getting a bonus.
Again, I'm focusing on the message. If I wanted to use the target, I would have to say, he told the team that, or he told me that. But since I just wanted to report the words, I used say.
This brings up a very important grammar rule. When we use say with a target, we need a little help, don't we?
Yes, if you absolutely want to use a target with say, you must use the word to. You can say something to someone. For example, he said hello to me. But with tell, you never use to. You just say, he told me hello.
I've noticed another big difference. Tell is often used for instructions or information, right?
Spot on. We use tell when we want someone to do something, like when I said, he told me to keep it a secret. It's an instruction directed at a target. You wouldn't say, he said me to keep it a secret. That sounds very unnatural.
What about when we report direct speech, like when I said, he said, don't tell Sarah?
When you use quotation marks and repeat the exact words, say is almost always the winner. It's like you're picking up the original arrow and showing it to everyone. He said, go home, or she said, I'm tired.
This arrow and target theory is already making things much clearer. Say focuses on the words, the arrow. Tell focuses on the person, the target.
And we have so much more to cover. In the next section, we're going to look at special expressions where you must use tell, even if the target isn't always obvious.
We'll see you there as we continue this deep dive. In the first part, we established our arrow and target theory. We learned that tell usually needs a person as a target.
But English wouldn't be English without some interesting exceptions. There are certain expressions where we always use tell even if we don't mention a specific person as the target.
These are what we call fixed expressions or collocations. Let's head to a cozy library setting to see these in action.
Sarah, you look like you're hiding something. Come on, you can tell a secret to me. I promise I won't tell a soul.
It's not exactly a secret, Sarah. I'm just trying to tell the difference between these two ancient history books. They look identical.
Let me see. Ah, I see it now. It's hard to tell the truth from a lie when books are this old, but look at the dates. That should help you tell the time of when they were written.
You're right. By the way, remember that librarian we met? He could tell a story like nobody else. He once told a joke that had the entire library laughing. Quietly, of course.
I remember. He also told lies about finding a hidden treasure in the basement. Nobody believed him, but it was fun to listen.
Let's analyze these targetless tells. Sarah, you said you can tell a secret.
This is a classic fixed expression. Even if you don't say, tell me a secret, we always use tell with the word secret. Why? Because a secret is a piece of information that is being transferred from one person to another. It fits the idea of aiming information at a target.
And you said you wouldn't tell a soul.
That's a very common idiom. A soul means any person, so even here, the target is hidden inside the idiom. It means I won't tell anyone.
I mentioned telling the difference. This one feels very different from our party gossip.
You're right. When you tell the difference, you are using your brain to identify or distinguish between two things. It's like your mind is the archer and the fact of the difference is the target. We also say you can tell one from the other.
Then we had tell the truth and tell a lie.
These are perhaps the most important ones to memorize. You never say the truth or say a lie. We always tell the truth and tell lies. This is because truth and lies are considered categories of information that are delivered to others.
What about tell the time? We aren't really aiming at a person there.
True, but when you tell the time, you are giving information based on looking at a clock. It's a delivery of a specific fact. Most children learn to tell the time when they are young.
And finally, we mentioned tell a story and tell a joke.
Stories and jokes are long sequences of information. Because they have a beginning, a middle, and an end, they are delivered to an audience. So we always tell them. You wouldn't say a story.
Now that we've mastered the target with tell, let's focus on the arrow with say. This is the most common way to report what people think, feel, or have mentioned in general.
Exactly. When the listener isn't the most important part of the story, or when we're talking about general opinions, say is our go-to verb. Let's head to a coffee shop where people are sharing their opinions. Look at that couple over there. He just said that he was sorry. He didn't say it to anyone specifically in a loud way. He just expressed the sentiment.
And notice how he said the coffee was too cold. He's focusing on the message, the arrow. If he wanted to complain to the waiter, he would have told the waiter, this coffee is cold.
Good point. Also, say is perfect for reporting what people think. For example, I might say to myself, I should have ordered a croissant. When you talk to yourself, you are the archer and the target, so we often just use say.
We also see this in newspapers or news reports. They often say that the weather will be sunny tomorrow. They aren't telling you personally, they're just stating a fact for everyone to hear. Let's break down the indirect speech here. Sarah, you used the word that a lot.
Yes, while that is optional, it often follows say when we're reporting a full sentence. He said that. He was tired. She said that she would come later. Notice there's no listener between said and that. If you wanted to use tell, you must have a person there. He told me that he was tired.
So the biggest mistake students make is saying something like, he said me that.
That is a huge no-no in English. You can never put a person directly after say without using to. So it's either he said that, focus on arrow, he said to me that, arrow plus target with help, or he told me that, target focused.
I've noticed another very common phrase. It is said that. I hear that in formal English a lot.
That's a passive structure. We use it when we don't even know who the archer is. For example, it is said that this cafe is the best in town. It means people say, or it is commonly believed. Again, the focus is 100% on the information, not a specific target.
This makes perfect sense. Say is for the message, the opinion, and the general statement.
Exactly. Now get ready because in the next section, we're going to step away from just words and look at speak and talk.
We've covered the arrow and the target, but sometimes communication isn't just about a message. It's about the setting and the vibe.
Exactly, Alex. While say and tell are for reporting words, speak and talk focus on the act of using your voice. To understand them, we use the lecture versus chat theory.
Alex is like a lecture. It's formal, serious, and often one way. Talk is like a chat. It's informal, relaxed, and involves interaction. Let's step into a university hallway to see how this works. Thank you for coming. I am here to speak about the importance of linguistic habits in modern education. I will speak with the dean later regarding the curriculum.
Hey, Alex, great job. Can we talk for a minute? I want to talk to you about where we should grab lunch.
Thanks, Sarah. I'd love to talk about lunch. I'm tired of speaking formally. I just want to talk like a normal person now.
I noticed you mentioned you would speak with the dean. Why so formal?
Well, he's a high-level official. You speak to people in authority, but you talk to your friends. Let's break down the rules for these two. Sarah, what's the most famous use for speak?
Languages. You always speak a language. I speak English. She speaks 3 languages fluently. You never talk a language.
And what about the prepositions? This is where it gets tricky.
For both verbs, you can use to or with. I need to speak to or with the manager, formal. I need to talk to or with my sister, informal. In American English, to is more common, while in British English, with is very popular.
I also notice we use speak on the phone.
Yes, when you answer the phone and don't know who is there, you say, "Who am I speaking to?" It adds a level of professional distance until you realize it's a friend. Then you can start talking.
So, to summarize, speak, formal settings, speeches, authority, and languages. Talk, informal settings, friends, family, and casual conversations.
Perfect. But wait, Alex, what about when someone is talking nonstop?
That's a perfect lead into our next section. In part 5, we're going to look at manner and duration, how we use these verbs when the conversation gets long, loud, or even annoying. We've discussed the setting, but now let's talk about the physics of speaking. How loud is the voice? How long is the conversation?
This is where the volume versus clock theory comes in. When we talk about the physical quality of the voice, the volume or manner, we usually use speak. When we talk about how long someone continues to use their voice, the clock, we usually use talk.
Let's imagine we're recording a podcast, but the technical conditions are, well, not great.
Alex, I can't hear you. You need to speak up. The microphone isn't picking up your voice.
Sorry, is this better? I was trying to speak softly so I wouldn't wake up the neighbors.
Much better. Now, don't talk too much about the technical details. We need to keep talking about the grammar so our viewers don't get bored.
I promise I won't talk for hours, but you know me, once I start talking, it's hard to make me stop talking.
That's true. You speak very clearly, but you definitely talk more than anyone I know.
Let's look at the volume part first. Sarah, you told me to speak up.
Right. Whenever we refer to the physical action of producing sound, speak is the winner. Speak up. Speak louder. Increase the volume. Speak softly. Speak quietly. Decrease the volume. Speak clearly. Focus on the quality of pronunciation. Speak fluently. Focus on the flow of the language.
And then there's the clock or the duration part. You said, don't talk too much.
Exactly. Talk is the verb we use for the activity of conversing over time. Talk for hours, the duration of the act. Stop talking, keep talking, the beginning or continuation of the process. Talk too much, the quantity of the words used.
I've also noticed we use say in a very specific way when we want someone to repeat something.
Yes. When you didn't hear someone, you ask, "What did you say?" You're asking for the arrow to be shot again. You wouldn't ask, "What did you talk?" or "What did you tell?"
So to keep it simple, speak, use it for how someone is using their voice, quality or volume. Talk, use it for how long or how much someone is using their voice, quantity or duration.
You've got it. But we have one more important category to finish this masterclass.
What's that?
The what and who specialized idioms. There are moments where the choice between these 4 verbs changes the entire meaning of the sentence.
We've reached the final stretch. After covering the arrow, the target, the lecture, and the flow of conversation, it's time for the refinement stage. This is where we look at the idioms and advanced structures that separate a student from a master.
Exactly. These are the expressions that don't always follow the basic rules, but are essential for sounding natural. Let's look at our final scene in the Hall of Fluency. Alex, look at this one. Speak your mind. Earlier, we said speak is for formal settings. Why do we use it for our personal thoughts?
Because speaking your mind isn't just a casual chat. It's a brave, formal act of honesty. It's like standing at a podium inside your own head and delivering a truth. You are the authority of your own opinion.
I love that. But then look at the opposite. Talk back. When a child is being rude to a parent, we say, "Don't talk back to me."
Exactly. That's because talking back is an interactive process, a negative chat that goes back and forth. It fits our lecture versus chat theory perfectly.
What about when someone is being logical? We say they talk sense.
Yes, and if they are being silly, they're talking nonsense. Because making sense or nonsense is a continuous flow of ideas, we use talk. You can't just say sense once, you have to keep the flow going.
We also have some power idioms for say. Like when someone explains something perfectly and you agree, you might say, "You said it." Or if you want someone to stop explaining because you already understand, you say no more.
And let's not forget the professional trap with tell. Many students say he told that, but we must remember, tell is the only one of these four that can take two objects. You can tell me, object 1, a story, object 2. You tell him, object 1, the truth, object 2. You can't do that with say, speak, or talk.
Alex, we've covered so much ground today. I think our students are ready to go out there and use these verbs with 100% confidence.
I think so too. Remember everyone, don't be afraid to make mistakes while you are learning to speak more naturally.
It has been an absolute pleasure being your guides through this deep dive journey. Thank you for your energy and your dedication to learning.
Keep practicing your English, keep telling your stories, and we will see you in the next masterclass.
Goodbye, everyone.